Have you been thinking of moving to Bellingham, Washington? Whether you're looking to escape the Texas heat, California prices, Seattle traffic, or Vancouver's cost of living, this is your ultimate relocation guide with everything you need to know to settle in like a local from a local. If we haven't met yet, my name is Blake Yahtzee. I'm a local real estate agent here in Bellingham and the surrounding areas, and I was also born and raised here. Aside from a couple years chasing sunshine in my early 20s in California and Florida, Bellingham has always been my home. So if you have any questions, big or small, drop them in the comment section below, or you can text this number on the screen. That's my personal number, and all my contact info will be in the description below as well. But without further ado, let's get into the video. We're gonna start with a map tour so you can get oriented with Bellingham and begin to uncover where you might wanna live. I have the map of Bellingham pulled up right now. You can see the red outline is Bellingham city limits. So Geneva, Sudden Valley, you know, this area of Agate Bay, and then over here off Britain Road. This is all Bellingham still. It's just outside of Bellingham city limits, or Bellingham proper, as some people say. So main thoroughfare through Bellingham is going to be I-5. This goes north from the Canadian border all the way south to the Mexican border. So you can go a lot of places just on I-5. The other main one is you have Highway 542, which goes out to Deming and Kendall, and then you turn off and you go all the way to the Mount Baker ski area over here, which is a huge draw on why people move to Bellingham. Is you have amazing skiing, or not amazing, but you have great skiing at Mount Baker, and then you also have Galbraith Mountain, which is right in this area right here. And that is some amazing mountain biking. So you have both mountain biking and skiing, and you have the San Juan Islands here. You have all these islands out here. You can take a ferry out to Lopez Island or into Friday Harbor and San Juan Island or Orcas Island. Those are all great day trips or weekend trips. You can go camping and things like that. You also have the Guide Meridian, which is going to take you north and south out of Bellingham, and there's some shopping centers along there. We'll get into shopping in just a second. And that will take you all the way up to Linden or even the Canadian border as well. So the other thing to note is we are kind of smack dab in between Vancouver and Seattle. So let me zoom out here. You have Vancouver. People say it's about 40 minutes. I say it's more like an hour once you cross the border and deal with traffic and all that. And then you have Seattle, which is about an hour and a half. Again, an hour and a half without traffic. You know, in the summer, we do get a lot of road construction here. So in the summers, it can get pretty congested. Those are the main thoroughfares kind of surrounding Bellingham. You have Ferndale all the way up in the border. You have Blaine and Birch Bay, which have some more affordable housing. Linden is another popular place to live. Everson and Nooksack, you're gonna have even more affordable places to live, and same with Sumas, as well as Maple Falls. If you wanna live around Bellingham, but you're looking for something more affordable, those are gonna be some good options for you. Now, when it comes to groceries and shopping, there's a few main areas where people do their shopping. So you have Barclay Village, which has Hagen's. There's a few restaurants, movie theaters there now. You have Scotty Brown's. There's actually quite a lot going in Barclay Village right now, and then there's a whole nother plan for this area, but we'll get into that in a different video. And then you have Sunset Village, which is gonna have Safeway, Lowe's, a few different restaurants, like Koa is a great place to eat, Goodwill. And we do have two Trader Joe's in Bellingham, one that's right off Alabama, which is another sort of east to west road that people use quite often, a busier road. And we have one Trader Joe's right here, And then there's a Trader Joe's right next to this Best Buy. This area right in this parking lot with the 4 Points Sheraton, that's gonna have Fred Meyer's, which is Kroger, I believe. And it's also gonna have Whole Foods, and there's a boutique pet store here, Little Caesars. And then we also have the Cordata area, which is gonna have Bellis Fair Mall. You have Dort and Bodie right here. There's a Home Depot here, Costco over here, as well as another Fred Meyer's right across the street from there. And then along the Guide Meridian, kind of going out of town towards Linden, that's where you'll find the Walmart, a Sierra Trading Post, which is like TJ Maxx for outdoor stuff, and brand new Texas Roadhouse. There's gonna be Chick-fil-A out there. This road has a lot of your big box stores basically in Bellingham. And then you also have Seahome Village, which is gonna serve a majority of the south side of Bellingham. That's gonna have Hagen's, there's a Walgreens, I believe, and then REI is right here as well. There is a Hagen's in Fairhaven and a Hagen's right here. So those are kind of the main shopping areas. It's where you're gonna get most of your goods. And then when it comes to just, hanging out, going to restaurants, browsing shops, local shops, you're gonna have historic Fairhaven and downtown Bellingham. So historically speaking, there was the township of Fairhaven, and then this area was the township of Whatcom. And they merged together and became Bellingham because they couldn't decide on whether to call it Fairhaven or Whatcom. So it's a bit of the history there. Fairhaven's gonna be a little sleepier, quieter. It's gonna be all boutique shops and some really good restaurants in here. If you want my restaurant guide, it will be in the description below, and that will go into more depth about that. You have Marine Park, which is the ending point for one of the most famous races and weekends in Bellingham, the Ski to Sea, which starts at Mount Baker and then ends with a kayak from Zwanich Park, which is over here, and they go all the way over here. And then there's a big party in Fairhaven on the streets. There's a lot of vendors, food trucks, all that sort of thing. You also have Boulevard Park, which is a really popular park as well on your way into Bellingham, and Taylor Dock, where you'll see people jumping off into the water. And eventually Boulevard Park and the boardwalk is going to be connected all the way to Waypoint Park over here. And that's kind of in the works. You can go to theportbellingham.com. So the other kind of main hangout and where a lot of restaurants are is downtown Bellingham. It's where Waypoint Park is, trackside. You have the Wild Buffalo for live music. You have breweries like Aslan. You have the Aslan Depot. There's all sorts of stuff to do in downtown Bellingham. The Bellingham Farmers Market is really popular, and we'll probably do a video just on what to do in downtown Bellingham. But for right now, that is that. Then we can talk about a bit of the outdoor activities, because that's definitely what Bellingham is known for. You have Whatcom Falls Park, Cornwall Park is over here. And then you have Elizabeth Park, and then you have the Seahome Arboretum, which is also kind of connected to Western Washington University. You have the end of North Shore Park, which is right around here. And you have the Silver Beach Woods, which I believe is this green area right here. And there's trails all through here that take you all the way from Silver Beach to downtown. And then you have the Interurban Trail that goes from Fairhaven to downtown Bellingham as well. So those are some of the major parks. Lakes, we have Lake Samish. This is where I usually go swimming. There's some kind of public access points along the highway right here. The park is closed right now for renovations, but that should be open up somewhat soon. So then you have Lake Whatcom. This is the biggest lake in Bellingham, or I guess it's just outside of Bellingham city limits. This is the water source for Bellingham, so this is where we get our drinking water. There is a public park, Blowdale Donovan Park, and that's a really popular place for people in the summer to go get in the water. There used to be no dock, and now there's a really great dock there as well, so it's a great place to hang out. First of all, we have the Columbia neighborhood, which if we go to our new map, we can see this is downtown Bellingham, right where the city center is, and Columbia is right here. So this whole area, Cornwall Park, Leonard Street, Sunnyland, this is all flat, and so people like these neighborhoods if they want to be able to bike to downtown, go to different restaurants. And the Columbia neighborhood is known for its historic craftsman homes. You know, there's lots of trees, you have Elizabeth Park, and it's a very close-knit community because there's not a lot of turnover here. Super bikeable, walkable. I was always jealous of kids that lived in the Columbia neighborhood growing up because they could just walk from Wacom Middle School all together and go to their houses, and it's really close in that way. Some of the drawbacks of this area are the fact that they're older homes. You'll see here on our price range, we have the highest is almost 1.4 million and the lowest is 417,000. So that's a huge range. And that sort of has to do with the level of maintenance that homeowners do with these older homes. Obviously this lower end is gonna be more rundown, historic homes, and then this higher end is gonna be like fully restored craftsman mansions basically. So, and then the average price point in the Columbia neighborhood is 850,000. The average price per square foot is 450 to 500, and average size of homes is 1,800 to 2,000 square feet. So if you're looking for sprawling, you know, homes like you might find in Texas, definitely not going to find them in this neighborhood, but it's good for other reasons. And shortest days on market, there's a few homes that sell off market here, so it's important to make sure and establish a relationship with a real estate agent early so that way they can get you those, because you won't see those on Zillow or anywhere. And then longest days, 67 days. I imagine that's probably for some of these lower price homes that need a ton of work. And average days 24, which seems pretty accurate. I would say a lot of the best homes are going to sell in a weekend. If they're listed Thursday, they're gonna have an offer review date on a Monday or Tuesday, and they probably sell for a little over asking. It depends on the actual market conditions in that time, but it's a very sought after neighborhood. So next we're going to the south side. We have Fairhaven. We already talked about it a little bit. It's just this little part of Bellingham. So it's mostly condos in here. There's a few houses in this corner right here off Larrabee Avenue. Most of these are gonna be condos, which is something to note with these very high prices. So I think last year, yeah, this was a condo that sold last year. It was brand new, amazing water views, luxury finishes, all that. So you do get a great quality product for that price, but it is expensive. The lowest sale, these are not gonna be water facing condos. They're still gonna be solid condos, you're just not gonna have water views. Price point right around $1 million, even higher than the Columbia neighborhood. And a lot of people really like Fairhaven. It's historic, it's super walkable. Some of the drawbacks of living here is it's pretty busy during the tourist season in the summer. The pricing, obviously $100 million for a condo is quite a bit of money. And then parking, if it's not provided by the building that you live in, can be an issue as well. Average size 1,700 to 2,200 square feet. So actually pretty comparable to the Columbia neighborhood, even though we're talking about condos. And then average days on market between a month and 45 days. So let's get into South Hill, which is gonna be connected to Fairhaven right here. As you can see, Western is right here. So South Hill is on a hill, obviously, has great views of Bellingham Bay, which is why you get a bit of a higher price point here. There's still quite a bit of historic homes. A lot of them are restored or torn down and completely new builds have gone in their place. Transportation, you are smack dab between downtown Bellingham and Fairhaven, so you can get both places super quick, which is really nice. One of the reasons why people like living there. You know, you are on a hill. If you had an e-bike, you could easily get either of those places. A bike, you'd probably be sweating on your way back, but still possible. The highest sale in South Hill neighborhood was 1.72, and then the lowest sale was 530,000. I believe I included condos in this, but there is some condos in the South Hill neighborhood that are a little more affordable if you want to go the condo route. And the average price is 1.15 million. So the highest that we've seen so far in our dive of the neighborhoods. You can pause the video and look at the property details right there. Homes typically sell pretty quick unless they need a lot of work or something like that. Silver Beach neighborhood. This is where I grew up. It's changed a lot since I grew up here, but it is all around the lake. So you do get a lot of higher price homes. You have a higher average price than in practice when you're looking. You might find some more affordable homes, but on an average basis, you have a bit of a skewed stat from all these waterfront homes that have docks and are on the sunny side of the lake, they call it. You're really close to Wacom Falls and Galbraith, so if you live in the Silver Beach neighborhood, you can ride your bike to the north entrance of Galbraith or go on walks in Wacom Falls, Silver Beach Woods. Drawbacks are definitely the higher price point, and it's not very walkable to amenities. So everything's gonna be down Alabama Hill, which on your way back, would be a trek, especially if you have groceries or something. So you're gonna need to have a car if you live in this neighborhood. So yeah, price points highest, $3 million, definitely gonna be a lakefront home. Average is 1.4, which is wild. And then the lowest is 448,000. So as you can see, there's a pretty wide range. So 450 all the way to 300,000 or 3 million, sorry. I would say you can expect to pay between $800 and $1 million to be in the Silver Beach neighborhood today, unless you're looking for lakefront homes, in which case you'd be lucky to find a house on the lake for 1.4. So you can take a screenshot, look the rest of these stats here, but let's move on. You have the Cordata neighborhood. There's a lot of newer construction going on here. There's more condos, townhomes. It's sort of a newer development that's started going on over the past few years. Cordata neighborhood is North Bellingham. Costco again is right here. There's a new development going in behind Costco where the builder is offering a 5.5% interest rate on purchasing those homes. So great opportunity to get in the market there in Cordata. Highest sale, 838,000. I imagine that was one of the newer developments that went in. Average price 600,000. The average low price is 500,000, and then the lowest sale is 270. There's some 55 plus neighborhoods, condos, so there's some opportunities to get in the market and live in Bellingham at a more affordable price in Cordata. And then you also have the Birchwood neighborhood. This is known for, you know, bigger lots. You get a lot more space in the Birchwood neighborhood. Highest sale, 840,000. There's some more expensive homes here, but yeah, as you can see, average price 500,000. And then there is some condos that really affordable in the Birchwood neighborhood. I have a friend that lives there and he really likes it. There's some really good restaurants in the Birchwood neighborhood. You have Mi Rancho Meat Market, Netto's, a Mexican restaurant. You have Juanita's Thai, and you have Grant's Burgers. So it's a cool place to live. You're still close to everything. You get more space, and it's another one of the more affordable places you can live in Bellingham. So the next one I have on my list is the Puget neighborhood. And the Puget neighborhood, half of it is expensive and then the other half is not as expensive. So I wanted to include it because I have helped first-time home buyers into this neighborhood around the $600,000 range. It's kind of a slept-on neighborhood, I would say. It's not as popular, gets as much attention as some of these other neighborhoods, but it's a really cool neighborhood because you're really close to Whatcom Falls and Galbraith still, and you're really close to downtown. And that's why I have two friends that live in this neighborhood, and they will ride their bikes to downtown, to breweries, to restaurants, and meet people down there. You're minutes from Whole Foods and Fred Meyer's, and then you're still close to Whatcom Falls if you want to get into nature and enjoy the trails. So these stats, I don't think paint the best picture of what you can capture in the Puget neighborhood, but feel free to pause and look at those if you're curious. Now we're gonna go over the best parts about living in Bellingham. First and foremost, being the nature and outdoor activities. This is one of the main reasons that people are moving to this area. You have Whatcom Falls, Lake Padden, Galbraith Mountain, Mount Baker ski area just an hour away. You have the San Juan Islands, which are gorgeous and great for a weekend camping trip. And most of the people that are moving to this area have an affinity for the outdoors and outdoor recreation. You really just have all the options for whatever you want to do outside. You can do it in Bellingham. Another great thing about living in Bellingham is our proximity for day trips, whether that's to Mount Baker, San Juan Islands, or to Vancouver or down to Seattle. They're basically all about an hour and a half away, an hour to an hour and a half away. And that is one of the reasons people love living here, is because they don't have to live in the big city, but they can go to the big city if they would like to. The third reason that people love living in Bellingham is the food scene. We have some really great restaurants. For a city of our size, we have a lot of options for dining. You have Thai food, Vietnamese food, Mexican food, Italian. There's great options in all types of food here in Bellingham, which I feel like is very rare for a city of our size. I've lived in two other cities about the size of Bellingham, some a little bigger, some a little smaller, and they do not compare to Bellingham's food scene at all. So if you want that restaurant guide, where to eat, it will be in the description below. The fourth reason people love living in Bellingham is the art and music scene. We have things like Downtown Sounds for live music in the summer, which is a free event where they block off the whole city block to have a beer garden and live music. We also have the Noisy Waters Music Festival Noisy Waters Mural Festival, where muralists from all over the country and I think the world come to paint murals. And then there's also a music aspect to that as well. And that takes place at Trackside in Bellingham. Also at Trackside, you just have a stage in the Colshan Beer Garden that gets live music during the summer. You have the Wild Buffalo, which because of our proximity to Vancouver to our north and Seattle to the south, you're inevitably gonna go through Bellingham if you're doing a US tour. And so we do sometimes get some bigger name acts at the Wild Buffalo because they split up the trip between Seattle and Vancouver. And the final reason that we'll talk about in this video that people love Bellingham is the community feel. You know, it's dog friendly most places you go. You have the breweries where you can bring people under 21, and you also have people that are eco-conscious, lots of compostable food containers and things like that, paper straws, all that stuff. And yeah, the community feel is definitely one of the main reasons and main attractions for people moving to Bellingham. All right, so that was the good. Now, here are the realities that you need to prep for. The first one is definitely housing affordability. It costs a lot of money to live here. There is options for more affordable housing, but it's not gonna be anything like Ohio or parts of Texas or things like that. So yeah, housing is expensive here, and that is a reality you will definitely have to prep for, which I'd be happy to help you do. All my information, again, will be in the description. Going along with housing unaffordability is there's not a ton of industry in Bellingham. So a lot of the people that are buying houses either have remote jobs or they work in schools at Western or in healthcare, but there's not a lot of high-paying jobs that are supporting the prices that we're seeing in housing. So low industry is definitely a reality that you'll have to prep for. There's just not a lot of industry in Bellingham. The next reality you're gonna have to prep for is the weather. It is pretty rainy here. As you probably have already heard about the Pacific Northwest. And it's not really even the rain that really gets to you, but in the winter, our days are extremely short. So I think our shortest day of the year, it gets dark at like 4 or 4:30. And that's tough because you go to work and it's dark, and you get off work and it's dark. The alternative to that is in the summer, we have really long days. So you get all that time to enjoy the better weather, which is awesome. So the final reality to prep for in Bellingham is the lack of public transportation. For most neighborhoods in Bellingham, you're going to need a car, and the public transportation system is lacking. So that's another reality to prep for. All right, now we're gonna get into the pro tips section of this video. The first being how to beat the winter blues. You're gonna need to get a good vitamin D supplement. That's gonna be essential. You're not gonna get a lot of vitamin D during the winter. And then you're also gonna wanna have hobbies that you can do indoors. There is a lot of options as far as indoor soccer, or pickleball is a huge indoor activity nowadays in Bellingham, or music. That's what I do personally, but some indoor activity that you can do that you love that can help you either stay active or get you involved in some sort of community. The second pro tip on the list is how to make friends. If you move here in the winter, people are definitely more in their shell in the winter. They're not getting as much vitamin D, they're not feeling as outgoing. And so the best way to meet people is through those activities that we just talked about. All those same ones apply. We have a great tennis club here as well, and those are all gonna be good options for making friends in Bellingham, or joining some sort of outdoor club that goes hiking or mountain biking or skiing are all gonna be great ways to meet people and create community here in Bellingham. If you do move here in the summer, it is a lot easier to make friends. We have all the events like Ski to Sea, Downtown Sounds, everyone's out and about, feeling good, all pumped up on vitamin D And so it's a lot easier to connect with people in the summer in Bellingham. You can just make friends by going to breweries, hanging out at trackside, things like that, Boulevard Park, all those sorts of things. So if you do move here in the summer, it is a little easier to make friends. The last pro tip that I was gonna do is in regards to utilities. If you are more curious about kind of the ins and outs of relocating to Bellingham, I'm gonna have a free guide down in the description that will cover who you sign up for utilities like water, power, sewer. So go down to the description. It's a free download and you can have access to that, as well as all my information is down there if you have more specific questions about living in Bellingham. So that was a bit of a long-winded video. I appreciate it if you've stuck around to the end. Make sure and like it if it helped you in your relocating journey. Reach out if you have any real estate needs in Bellingham. I am a local real estate agent here, and if you have any questions, big or small, feel free to send me a text or email me, whatever way you're most comfortable communicating. See the guides down below to get more insider information on living in Bellingham, and I'll see you in the next video.